Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of District 79 webinars, where today we're going to have a wonderful, engaging, special webinar called the Leadership Compass, Working with Your Team. Our special guest is DTM Teresa Duke. She's our Regional 11 International Director. Before I introduce her, I want to first make sure everyone can hear me and can see my screen. So if you would please type something in the chat window or in the question box that says, yes, hello, we can hear you and we can see your screen.
أهلا بكم جميعا في ويبنار القطاع 79 المنصة المباشرة للتدريب والاجتماعات بوصلة القيادة العمل في فريقك. ضيفتنا المميزة اليوم العريف تريزا، مدير إقليم عالمي لإقليم.
Okay, great. Toastmaster Rami, thank you so much for letting us know that you can hear us and you can see our screen. And thank you for the translation, Toastmaster Asma. I'm going to go ahead and move forward and introduce our facilitators for today and then introduce our special guests. Thank you all for being with us. Okay, today's facilitator includes myself. I am DTM Akanki Abdul Khalik. I'm the District 79 Webinar Manager and also a member of the District 79 website team. I'm the founder of the first women's-only club in Division M, Tehran Women's Toastmasters Club, and the first female to earn the Distinguished Toastmaster status in Division M in its entire 35-year history. I am going to be the English facilitator for today. By profession, I am a life coach in personal development, wellness, and communication. I'm also a writer, artist, and trainer. And joining me, I'm really delighted to have Toastmaster Asma Noha. And she's represented by this beautiful flower. Toastmaster Asma is a member of Layla Toastmasters Club, an Arabic language club. She has a degree in English literature from King Saud University and is a KG teacher. In her spare time, she loves to do volunteer work. Asma, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome. Thank you so much for being with us.
أهلا وسهلا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. اليوم حتكون معنا العريفة المميزة أكانكي، مدير قطاع 79 الحالي، وتعمل مع فريق الموقع الإلكتروني للقطاع. هي مؤسس لأول نادي نسائي في قطاع الظهران، نادي توست ماستر النسائي، وأول حاصلة على عريف مميز في قطاع M من 25 سنة من تاريخ التوست ماستر، وستكون اليوم إن شاء الله مساعدة في الجلسة. ومهنيا هي مدير في التطوير الشخصي والتواصل، وكذلك فنانة وكاتبة ومدربة، وإن شاء الله حكون معكم إن شاء الله مساعدة في الترجمة. وشكرا، أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Asma, for being our Arabic facilitator. Now, before we get started, before I introduce our special guest, I want to let the attendees know how they can participate. This is going to be an engaging, interactive, and involved webinar session. And there are 3 ways that you can participate. First of all, you can raise your hand if you want to ask a question. When you raise your hand, I'll see an icon on my side, and then at an appropriate time, I or we will open your mic so that you can ask your question or make your comment. And also, if you don't want to speak into the mic, you may want to just type a question or comment in the question box. If you have a question for me or especially for our special guest, just type it there. Now, also, there is something called a chat window. There will be times during the session when our special guest, DTM Teresa, will want to engage directly with you, and she can see the chat and not the questions. So put any responses to her questions in the chat window. I don't have a screenshot of that, but you should see the chat box on your control panel. So we'll make that clear also as we are going through the session. Now, there's another way that you can engage with us. We'll probably have some polling at some point during the session today. You'll see a poll come up on your screen, and when you do, you'll have about 30 seconds to respond, and then we will close the poll and then share the results with everyone. All right, so now Toastmaster Asma, if you can just explain that to our attendees who are joining us from the Arabic side.
ستكون جلستنا اليوم حماسية وتفاعلية، وهناك عدة طرق للمشاركة. أولا، رجاء رفع اليد من الأيقونة المخصصة لذلك. إذا كان لديك سؤال يمكن كتابة السؤال بخانة التعليقات. وبالنسبة للتصويت سيكون خلال 30 ثانية، وثم بعد ذلك يغلق التصويت. وإذا كان عندك أي سؤال أو مشاركة خلال الجلسة تستطيع كتابته في الجزء المخصص للتعليقات. Back to you.
Okay, and did you also explain the polling? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you,
Yes.
Master Asma. Shukran jazilan. Okay, now what I want to tell you is that before I introduce, I'm just putting it off and putting it off to keep you all anticipating and waiting to meet our dear DTM Teresa. I want to first share a document with you. There's a document that she's going to be using during the session, and I want to go ahead and send that to you all. So I'm going to choose this document now. If you just give me a moment. And I think you all may already be able to see it. There's a document that you all should see, and I'm just going to send it one more time in case. Yes. Okay. I'd like for the attendees to tell me if they can see the document that I just shared. It's called the Leadership Compass. The Leadership Compass exercise. If you all could put something in the question window to let me know if you have that document, that would be great.
تشاركت معكم توست ماستر أكانكي ملف خاص بسيشن اليوم مكتوب عليه
Not yet. Okay.
ليدر كومباس هي البوصلة القيادية. إذا كنت ترى الملف رجاء رفع اليد.
Okay, so just give me just a second to figure this out. I uploaded it, and how exactly do I send it out to you guys? Let me figure that out. If I delete it, it's it okay. Okay, let's see here. Just a moment, everyone. Uh-oh. Okay, so I just, we're going to need this, and I think I just made a mistake and deleted it. Okay, how do we do that? Okay. DTM Teresa, I think what I may need to do now, since I did not have that, since I made a mistake and deleted it, I'm going to show it on my screen as we're going through it. Do you want to show it on your screen, or do you need to show your presentation? And I can show this on my screen in the beginning. I apologize for that mistake.
Is there any way that we can email it to everyone so that they've got it physically in front of them?
Okay, let me try that. 1 second. Okay, let me just let me give you all some better things to look at. Just a moment here, so that you don't see all the things that I'm doing. Please bear with me, and thank you everyone for your patience. Okay, let's tell you a little bit about DTM Teresa Dukes. She is from Ipswich, Suffolk in the United Kingdom, and is a speaker, trainer, and coach at Dukes Consultancy, a company she founded in May 2009. She's certified as a world-class speech coach, and she helps individuals achieve their personal objectives and reach their full potential as communicators and leaders. Her clients includes CEOs apprentices, high school students, and small to medium-sized enterprises. DTM Teresa also works as an associate trainer for Speakers Trust, which is a charitable public speaking organization that specializes in training and educating the nonprofit and community sectors. DTM Teresa studied in the United States at King's College in Charlotte, North Carolina, and earned a diploma in secretarial science. She continued her education by studying marketing, geographical analysis, and project management. She worked as a corporate director before becoming an entrepreneur. DTM Teresa joined Toastmasters 16 years ago and has been a member of her home club, Easy Speak, at Martlesham in Martlesham, England since 2004. She has held a number of high-profile leadership positions within Toastmasters and has attained the Distinguished Toastmasters designation, which is the highest level of achievement in the organization. She says that Toastmasters means courage, opportunity, and challenge. The courage to share ideas where they are heard, the opportunity to develop skills at your own pace, and the challenge to help others grow. She says a Toastmaster not only grows personally and professionally, but is always ready to and able to help others grow in the community and in businesses as well. As a member of the Toastmasters International Board of Directors, she is an international director, and that means she is a working ambassador for the organization. She works directly with the board to develop, support, and modify the policies and procedures that guides Toastmasters International, and this helps them to fulfill their mission as an organization. DTM Teresa, thank you so much for being with us. Welcome, and we're going to have to get that Arabic introduction as well, but we want to welcome you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Lovely, thank you.
أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا. محاضرتنا المميز اليوم عريف مميز في المملكة المتحدة، وهي متحدثة ومدربة للاستشارات. شركة أسستها عام 2009 مايو، حاصلة على شهادة مدرب خطاب عالمي معتمد. تساعد الأفراد على تحقيق أحلامهم الشخصية وتحقيق أقصى إمكانياتهم في التواصل والقيادة. وتشتمل قائمة عملائها على كبار المدربين، المديرين التنفيذيين والمدربين وطلاب المدارس أيضا. تعمل أيضا كمساعد مدرب في منظمة Speaker Trust on Assurable Public Speaking المختصة بالتدريب والتعليم المجاني والقطاع الاجتماعي. درست عريف مميز توستماستر تريسا في جامعة كينغز في الولايات المتحدة، وحاصلة على دبلوم علوم السكرتارية، وواصلت تعليمها عن طريق دراسة التسويق والتحليل الجغرافي وإدارة المشاريع. وأيضا العريف انضمت إلى التوستماستر منذ 16 عاما، وكانت عضو في نادي في منزلها، وقد شغلت عدد من المناصب القيادية البارزة داخل التوستماستر، من أمين المراسم إلى أعلى المناصب. تقول أن التوستماستر يعتبر شجاعة وتحدي. وأهلا بك توستماستر تريزا. شكرا.
Thank you so much. Now, before we get started, DTM Teresa, we have one hand that's raised, and in case it's about some logistics, we want to open the mic. It's an Arabic attendee, Toastmaster Asma. Do you see the hand that's raised there? If so, would you please acknowledge them and open their mic so that they can make their comment or ask their question, please, before we get started. Asma?
نرى أن في واحد رافع يده، محمد البرقاوي. سنسمح لك بالحديث، تفضل.
Oops, sorry. Okay.
عليكم.
عليكم السلام.
عليكم السلام.
جزاكم الله بالخير، يعطيكم العافية.
الله يعافيك، أهلا وسهلا.
شكرا للعريفة المميزة تريس. اسمها ايش؟ تريس؟
تريسا.
وشكرا لك توستماستر أسماء على الترجمة الجميلة.
أهلا وسهلا.
عفوا أستاذ أسماء، يعني لو تعطيها، بس أنا ما أعرف إنجليزي، بس بسمع ترجمتك، يعطيك العافية. بس أبغى أعرف يعني العنوان الرئيس للقاء هو يعني
بوصلة القيادة.
ها؟ بوصلة القيادة. أيوة،
بوصلة القيادة.
شكرا أختي أسماء. تابعوا، يعطيكم العافية.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. He was asking about the main topic of our speech, our presented today, which is the leadership campus بوصلة القيادة in Arabic. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, DTM Teresa, it's all yours now. Please go ahead and thank you again for being with us.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Just to give you a little brief understanding about the Leadership Compass, it is a tool that you can use in a way that will help you understand how other members of your team communicate, because we all differ in the way that we decide that we're going to talk to each other. And I'm hoping that by the end of this presentation, this workshop, you will have a way to deal with people whom you are put into a team with. It'll help you understand their style. Asma, go ahead.
We cannot hear you clearly, please.
Can you not hear me?
I can hear you
Is that
clearly,
better?
Teresa.
Yeah, now, yeah.
Okay. So the Leadership Compass is a direction tool that will help you understand the way your team will approach work and communication. And it will help you understand the different ways that your team members operate.
Asma?
بوصلة القيادة تعريفها هي أداة نستخدمها للتعلم والفهم والتعامل بفعالية أكثر مع الفريق، لأن لكل شخص طريقة مختلفة في التعامل مع الآخر.
Okay, Teresa?
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you all a question. And the question is, the first time you decided to take up a leadership opportunity, were you excited about it? Did you think it was going to be fun? And were you ready to just get started?
And DTM Teresa, do you want them to engage with you by the mic, or do you want them to put a response in the chat window?
So they can put something in the chat window if they like. How did they feel the first time? How did they feel the first time they took on a leadership role? Were they excited?
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Asma.
سألت التوست ماستر تريزا كيف يكون شعورك إذا استلمت مهمة قيادية لأول مرة؟ هل تكون متحمس لأخذها أو ماذا؟ ممكن تشاركنا في القسم المخصص للتعليقات. شكرا، تفضل.
And if you could type it into the chat window, DTM Teresa will be able to see it herself. DTM Teresa, do you see the questions? We just want to check with that because most people are replying in the question box.
I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay, so dear attendees, if you could type your responses to DTM Tess or DTM Teresa in the chat box. Do you see your chat box? Type your responses there. Let's we're trying this to make sure that everyone can see. And maybe they don't have the capacity to do that. Would someone just type in the okay. Everybody's putting them in the question. Okay, dear attendees, do you see the chat window? Can you type something in your chat window? Or if you could let me know, and just thank you for your patience. No chat. Okay, thank you, Master Ayman. Okay, so they can't type anything into the chat window. So DTM Teresa, let me tell you what they're saying so far. We've had several attendees who have responded. DTM, let's see here. DTM, Toastmaster Ayman said he was excited. Toastmaster Amal said she had fear. Toastmaster Abdullah says, yes, I was excited. And DTM Saud said he was hesitant, then excited. Toastmaster Jane says she can't see the chat box. Thank you. So most people were excited, and there was a little fear at first. So that's the general comments. Those are the general comments. Excited with a little bit of fear.
Okay.
كانوا متحمسين أول مرة ولكن البعض قال إنهم متحمس في البداية ولكنهم متحمسين متردد في البداية ولكن كانوا متحمسين.
Okay. I can share with them as well. I was absolutely excited. The first role that I took was the treasurer role in my club. And I wanted to make so many changes. I wanted to start something new. And I wanted everything to just be really, really fantastic. And what I found out after all of my enthusiasm and my fun and my chance to make some changes, it was very short-lived. and I very quickly became, I encountered resistance, I encountered apathy, impatience, and I cried a lot.
Toastmaster Asma, would you please translate that?
أول دور أخذته في التوست ماستر كنت متحمسة جدا. حاولت أغير حاولت أعمل أشياء كثيرة ولكن للأسف تحول هذا إلى دموع وإحباط yes. Back to you.
Okay. So my story here is we all start a journey with lots of enthusiasm and lots of positivity, but sometimes other people look at us in a different way, and it may be that's because of the way that we're expressing ourselves, and the way that we express ourselves. Sometimes we have to take a step back and revisit how we're promoting our excitement.
قصتي هنا كلنا نبدأ دائما بحماس وإيجابية ولكن أحيانا البعض ينظرون إلينا بطريقة أخرى ولكن ربما بالطريقة.
Okay, so I want to tell you a story about mid-year training that I attended when I was a district governor, and it was held in Dubai, and it was with my two trio members. One was Freddie Daniels, and one was Jim Hegarty.
And DTM Teresa, would you please explain for those who don't have context what mid-year training is? If they've never been a district officer, they won't know what that means exactly.
I missed that, Ankake. Can you repeat?
Yes. Can you tell them what mid-year training is? If they've never been a district officer, they're not aware of what that means.
Okay. So every year, Toastmasters International will train the leaders of the district. So you have a district director, a program quality director, and a club growth director. And they are taken at 2 times during the year for training, so they understand what their role is all about.
Thank you. Asma?
Sorry, I didn't hear clearly.
Okay, she's just explaining. She's explaining a DTM test. You can just go ahead and explain this slide again, and then we'll let Asma. When it's time for you, when you want to take a break and turn it over to Asma, just say Asma, and then Asma, once you've translated, say back to you, DTM Teresa. Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'll start with this. I'll start with this slide again.
Sure.
Our district trios, our district directors, our program quality directors, and our club growth directors all are trained twice a year by Toastmasters International, once in August and once in January. And the training I want to tell you about was a training that happened with me in Dubai in January. Asma?
أوكي. مدير القطاع للجودة وكنت كلنا تدربنا في أغسطس وفي جانوري، والتدريب اللي أريد أن أخبرك عنه حدث في جانوري.
Okay, Asma,
So what happened?
Asma, just let her know when you're done translating and just say DTM test back to you. That way she'll have a good signal that you're done. Okay, thank you, dear.
Okay. So what happened to me and my two trio members, Freddie and Jim, we were all asked a question. Actually, the district director was asked a question. They were asked 3 questions. The first question was, do you know how your teams prefer to be communicated with? Second question was, do you know if your team is happy with the way that you communicate with them? And the third question was, do you know what type of communicator they are? Asma.
Asma, do you need her to repeat anything, dear?
عندما أخذت 3 أطفالي وكنا معهم، كلنا سألنا أسئلة. هل تشعر بالسعادة؟ Sorry, I didn't hear clearly the questions.
Okay.
It's interrupt.
So
the
I'll
sound
go
is
slow.
not very clear.
Okay, so I'll go slow with the first question, and we'll go question by question. Will that be okay?
Yes.
Okay.
It's okay, all the questions.
Okay. Did you get all 3 questions, Asma?
DTM test, Teresa, just ask each question one by one and let her translate each one at a time. That would be great.
Okay, the first question was, do you know how your team prefers to be communicated with? Asma?
I cannot, the sound just interrupt. I cannot hear all the questions. I heard you. Do you know? Or do you feel? That's it.
Okay, she's having a problem hearing you. So what I think, Asma, are you saying something else, dear?
Yeah, your sound is just interrupt. I cannot hear.
Okay, so I'm hearing everything clearly. And Teresa, are you hearing us clearly?
I am, yes.
Okay, so there may be an issue on your end, Toastmaster Asma, that you can't hear everything clearly. So if that is the case, then we may not be able to continue with the translation if you're not able to hear, because that will not be of an advantage to anyone really if we continue doing it this way, but you can't really do the translation because you can't hear. I do want to apologize to our Arabic attendees. Toastmaster Jane is saying that she's hearing everything. Toastmaster Saud, DTM Saud Al Omer, he has put something in the question box. Can you see that, Asma, what he has said? We want to see what his comment is.
Yeah.
It's in Arabic. Can you read it for us, please, or translate it for us, please?
Do you know the best way of communication that your team prefer?
Okay, so it's a question regarding the actual content. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make a decision now to discontinue the Arabic translation because of the issues that Toastmaster Asma is having. I know that some of our Arabic attendees, including DTM Saud, is bilingual, so we're going to switch to an English session only, and I do apologize for the few Arabic attendees who are here, please forgive us for that. And in the interest of time and fluidity and continuity, we're going to switch to an English-only presentation. Toastmaster Asma, thank you so much, dear, for being here to do the translation. But since there are technical issues, we'll discontinue the Arabic translation and continue in English only. Maybe at a later time we can do it in Arabic only. Thank you so much. So Toastmaster Teresa, DTM Teresa, we will continue in English only. And Toastmaster Asma, thank you so much for helping us to attempting to help us. Oh, and we're going to just
really
continue. That's okay.
I'm really sorry. I can hear now clearly, but I'm not sure if it's gonna cut off again. So
exactly. Okay, Abibti. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, DTM Teresa, it's all English. It's all yours. Let's get going.
Okay. So I'll go back to this first story here. Like I mentioned in the first couple of slides, I took my first leadership role as a treasurer for my club. I was excited. Many of you are also excited when you took your first role as well. Some were hesitant, some were fearful, and we all approach it in a different way. I realized after taking it that I wanted to make a lot of changes, and therefore, instead of fun, which I thought I was going to have, I encountered resistance, apathy, and impatience. And a lot of us do that. And the thing that we want to understand with leadership is everybody has their own style. They have their way of communicating with other people. But if we don't understand how our other leaders and team members communicate, it makes it difficult for us to get along. So what I want to do is I want to share a story with you when I experienced a district officer training or a district leadership team training in Dubai. And that was with myself as district director, my program quality director, who was Jim Hegarty, and my club growth director, who was Freddie Daniels.
Okay.
We all, yes.
DTM Teresa, just 1 second for housekeeping. Toastmaster Asma, I don't think we translated for the Arabic attendees the decision that was made, so we may want to let them know. And also DTM Saud El Omer has offered to help. DTM, so thank you so much for your patience, first of all. DTM Saud, thank you so much for offering to help with the translation. Are you... Toastmaster Asma, are you still with us? And can you just let the Arabic attendees know that we've switched to an English-only session so that we can move forward smoothly, and just explain to them what I said earlier so that they can be aware of the decision that was made.
اوكي نعتذر قد بسبب بعض المشاكل التقنية لا أستطيع السماع. سوف يقوم بالترجمة الأستاذ عبد الله. سيكون الآن كله باللغة الإنجليزية. نعتذر لكم، ولكن سيقوم بالترجمة بدلا عني الأستاذ سعود.
And let them know if any of them are bilingual, ask them to please communicate with us in English, because the Arabic portion will be discontinued because of technical reasons.
سنقوم الآن بالانتقال لأي شخص منكم بايلينغوال يعرف العربية والإنجليزية رجال التواصل، بسبب أني أواجه بعض المشاكل التقنية في الصوت.
Okay. Thank you so much. Jazakallah Kai. Thank you so much. Okay. Now,
okay.
Oops. Asma, were you saying something else, dear?
Maybe I could summarize later if I could hear all the things.
Okay, dear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
If I could hear everything.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, dear. Okay. Go ahead, DTM Tess. Sorry about that.
We're going to get there eventually, I think.
We are.
Okay. Okay, so during this training session that Toastmasters International delivers twice a year to our district trios, once in August and once in January, the January training that I attended, one of the first things they asked us in a communication module was 3 questions. They asked the questions to the district director. They said, Teresa, do you know, 1, your team's preferred mode of communication? And I said, yes, of course I do. Second question was, do you know if your team is happy with the way you communicate with them? And my answer again was, yes, of course they're happy. And the third question was, do you know what type of communicator they are? And I answered again, yes. But my surprise in all of this was they weren't happy with me. They hated receiving emails. They actually wanted me to pick a phone up and call them and talk to them personally. And I realized during this one little exercise that even though we had set a plan at the beginning of our year, they still hadn't communicated with me to say, I'm not happy with this. We need to change it. Can we review? And that's when I realized that there was an opportunity for us to learn a lot from this particular session and to understand that even though a plan is set, you actually have to review it and get to the bottom of why we weren't talking to each other. So that's what the story in Dubai was all about. How could we change the way that we work so that we could become a very successful district? And what I want to do during this particular session is I promise you that during this presentation you will learn how to lead more effectively. And a few of the things that I learned and that my colleagues learned as well was, in order to be an effective leader, you have to listen as effectively as you speak. Sometimes we have to listen even twice as much as we speak. The second thing to be an effective leader is to be enthusiastic. Your enthusiasm rubs off. It rubs off on other people. They want to be involved if you're really enthusiastic about something, but sometimes we can be overly enthusiastic, so we have to rein it in slightly so that our other leaders will be willing to work with us and not feel overwhelmed by our enthusiasm. The third thing is to be approachable. Know that there will be people who are on your team who want to have their voice heard, but may be a little bit shy in understanding how they can get your attention. So if you always have an open door policy and allow them the opportunity to speak, then you'll get the most out of your team members. And the final, fourth option is our direction. And this is where the leadership compass comes into play. Do we really understand which way we're going? And the way that we can understand even more effectively about how our leaders operate is to understand what direction they're following. And that's where our north, our south, our east, and our west directions come into play.
And so this is related to the handout. The handout explains the compass, the direction. A compass, as we know, is a tool that explorers use to know which direction, and we even use it in the Muslim world to know which direction to pray in. So the direction is related to the exercise document. Is that correct, DTM Teresa?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay.
And that leads me into asking you now to be as interactive as we can. So whether you're putting something in the questions area or you're putting something in the chat area, what I need you to do now This is our roadmap. Before we can go any further, I want you to read that 5-page document and determine which one you think you are closest to. So, for example, our North are considered the go-getters. They're usually very active in pulling together lists. They know what they want to happen. They literally make things happen. Our South is probably more that nurturer, the person that wants everybody to feel really nice and included. So they'll mother everybody, but that they still want to accomplish the goals. Our Easts are our visionaries. They love having ideas. They come up with all kinds of ideas and they put them to you. But they need a little bit of help in implementing those ideas. And then we have our West, who are our analysts. They love to be able to work with figures, with information, and research and research and research. So I need everybody to kind of pick where they think they fit the most at the moment. No ties. You have to be a North, a South, an East, or a West. And I'm going to give us a little time here to do that.
Okay, so while they're looking at the document, the North, if you could just summarize, the North is a go-getter. Okay, North is a go-getter, and the South is a nurturer, and the West is
an analyst.
Okay, and the East is
a visionary. Ideas.
Visionary.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm going to launch a poll so that after they're done looking at and thinking about what they are, we'll ask them a poll and we'll launch the poll and then they can respond.
Perfect.
Can I please just translate what's happening here?
No, Asma. No, we're not doing the translation anymore, dear, because it's not going to be productive. And as we said earlier, it may drop out again. You may not be able to hear. So let's just cancel the translation for now. And inshallah, God willing, the Arabic attendees who are bilingual can hang around and still benefit from the session. Thank you, dear. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm going to let me know when you want me to launch that poll DTM test. Pardon?
Yeah, go ahead and launch it.
Okay.
Go ahead and launch it.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So what is your direction on the leadership compass? Select one of the following. You're a North or a go-getter. Are you South, a nurturer, an East, a visionary, or a West, an analyst? You'll have 30 seconds to respond to the poll. Tell us what you are on the leadership compass or where you are on the leadership compass. Are you a go-getter? You go North. Are you a nurturer? You go South. Are you a visionary? You go to the East. Are you an analyst? You go to the West. 33% of our attendees have voted, and we want all of you to vote. So we're going to give you 25 more seconds. I've added 10 seconds back onto it. Please, we need your engagement so that DTM Teresa can make this, can address everyone. So if you are an East and you're not saying you're an East, we may not have the benefit of speaking to you clearly. I just want everyone to vote, please. So 50% of our attendees have voted. Please, we'll give you 15 more seconds to vote. Let us know what direction you are on the leadership compass.
Yeah, everybody needs to make a decision. Absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to close the poll now and launch the results. 33, the highest percentage, 33% on the session who voted, only 53% voted, unfortunately. But out of that 53%, 33% are analysts. They go to the West. And evenly divided are the others. The North, South, and East are 22% of the audience attendees.
Okay. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. So that helps us understand a little bit about our audience. And I'm pleased to see that we at least got half of them to make a decision. And that gets us started. At least we'll be able to have conversation. We have at least one in every box.
Awesome.
And that's really important, really important.
Awesome.
Okay.
And your slideshow,
Right.
you want to launch your slideshow again, DTM test? We're seeing it in sort mode.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, right. So now that we know sort of where you think you are, what I want to do, I want to spend just a little bit of time with each group. And if you are a North, this next little exercise is to give you a chance to think about yourself and think about how you react to the other directions. So, for example, if you are a North, this really big go-getter, I want you to focus on our Souths. How do the Souths make you feel? You get angry, you get frustrated. What are the top 3 things about them that make you angry? And if we can get people to write something either in the questions area or in the chat area,
Sure.
That way I can pull some of those questions. But the way that I want them to do it is this. If you are a North, in the questions section or the chat area, put yourself what you have chosen as your direction first, and then the direction that you're going to talk about. So if you're a North and you're going to talk about the South, start it the way that I've put it up here on the slide, North-South, and then give me a numbered list. The Souths are too nice. Number 2, they want everybody to be happy. And number 3, they don't make decisions quick enough. So I'm trying to find out from each direction how they feel about the other ones.
Okay.
So I'm going to give us.
Yes.
So if we focus 5 minutes on you choosing your opposite direction, then we'll go to the next one. So I'm trying to think if for this to be most effective, let's focus on one direction. Let's focus on the Norths to begin with. Okay. And ask all of our Norths to put in their feelings on the Souths.
Okay, and so also on a bird's eye scale, what you want each person to do is to first decide what direction they are, and then choose the opposite direction and say what they don't like about the opposite direction. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so all the attendees choose what direction you are, then think about the opposite and say what you don't like about those opposite people, and share your comments in the question box. The chat box doesn't work for you, DTM Teresa, so we're just going to ask them to put it in the question box, and I will share with you. And what she wants you to do in your comments, say, I am North, or I am East or West, or whatever you are, and what I don't like about the South or East or whatever the opposite is, so that it's very clear, so that when I read your comment to her, it's very clear that you've stated what you know you are and what you don't like about the other opposite type of leader. So we're waiting for you to do that. And I think whatever they are, DTM test, they can say it. So North, South, East, West, let them just say what they are, and then we can pick the Norths out and the Souths out, or whatever. We can sort of sort the list as we go through it. Does that sound like a plan?
And that's a plan. And if anybody really wants to be brave and they want to actually
raise their
speak to us,
raise
their hand. Yeah.
All right.
I'd like that.
Okay, so I do see some hands raised, and we can go to DTM Saud El-Umair. DTM Saud, I'm going to open your mic so that you can share with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, DTM Saud. Thank you so much for being here. Your mic is open. Please go ahead.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, DTM Makanki. Thank you very much, DTM Teresa. I'm a North, and normally the way I look at the people of the South, a profile, yes, these people they spend too much time in just socializing and caring about people. Okay, that's good, but for me, I'm concerned about achieving results. So sometimes, yes, I see them as DTM Teresa said, they're too nice and they too slow, actually, nothing being accomplished because they spend a lot of time and no decision being made, and they care about the people, which is good. But at the end, the bottom line, we need to achieve results. So this is my concern with the people
with the South, and I'm in North.
Thank you so much. That's so funny. Because we're the opposites, I think, DTM South. That's great. Thank you. Okay, DTM Teresa, you want to say something about that?
I love the honesty, because all Norths will be absolutely honest about their feelings, especially concerning the Souths. I I know when I was district director, district governor at the time, that's exactly how I felt. Too much socializing, too nice, wanting everybody to feel happy. And I had goals to achieve. Absolutely. Let's just get on with it, right? So absolutely can empathize with you, Mr. Salt.
Yes.
Anybody else
Yes,
have?
we have lots of other comments. Let's see here. Toastmaster Jane Cameron says that I want to say that I am both South and West, but guess I would be mainly South. That was her comment. She didn't say anything about the opposite. Let me see. Here it is. She's South, and the opposite is North. She said, I'd rather not say don't like, as that is personal, but the North types tend to be too quick to decide, not allow enough decision, and don't always consider alternatives. So that's what she said. She's a South, and that's what she does not like about the North, or that's the issue she has with the North style, I should say. And let's see. Let's go to Tismast Abdullah Al Sharani. Thank you for your comment, Tismast Abdullah. I think he says the North can use enforcement more than engagement in making decisions. So I think he's saying that he's probably a South. He didn't say what he is, but I think that's what he's saying. He's making a comment about the North. Let's see here. Toastmaster Iman says, as an East, he thinks the West sometimes has too many procedures and takes too long to move. They do focus on the past too much. Toastmaster Anitha says she's North, and she does not like analysts who have plenty of data and won't put anything to use. Toastmaster Amal says, I don't like wasting time in unrealistic ideas, and she put East in parentheses. Toastmaster Iman said something else. He says the North sometimes seems to lack emotional intelligence to support their need for action. Okay, great comments, everyone. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And so far, I haven't heard anything unusual. It is exactly what I was expecting to hear.
And we have one more comment, Toastmaster Teresa. Sorry to interrupt you. Toastmaster Rami says, I am West, and I think East is complementary to the West, and they can work well together. A good team. That's what he says. We have another one from Toastmaster Eileen Smith. I am North, and the South side is sometimes too sensitive. And Toastmaster Saud Alamer, DTM Saud, is asking a question. Is this the same as HBDI? What's HBDI, Toastmaster Saud? Is that that's probably another tool for personality assessment or something? But
it very possibly is. There are several different personality tools that can be used, and this particular one that I'm using is one that Toastmasters International brought in 2010, I do believe it is, and it's being used with permission from the organization. I'm just trying to find where the organization is. And
okay, that's great. Okay, thank you so much. And he said it's something called the Herman Brain Dominance, which is another personality type assessment. So there are some similar tools, as she said. So it's okay. So we've gotten lots of comments about people's direction and what they think of the opposite direction. This is very good.
I like it. I like it. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, have I heard enough from everybody? So our North, do we have any other Norths out there that want to add anything that hasn't already been said?
No, I think I covered everything. We have Toastmaster Annie Smith is North, and she made her comment. So I think, and Toastmaster Anitha is North, and she says she doesn't like the analyst. Yeah, so we've gotten lots of comments about North, South, and you can go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, so what I want us to think about now, because this is really simple, we get really frustrated with the way that opposite direction works, and even the other directions that we are possibly being forced to work with, because we don't always get to choose the team that we are a part of, especially in Toastmasters, because normally all of your leaders are being elected. So if you are that district director, you don't necessarily get to choose who's going to be on your team. And the same within your clubs. Your clubs, our officers are also being elected. So we have to find a way that we can work more effectively with those other directions, because we don't want to remain angry and frustrated. We want that West to work with us, even though they obviously take a lot of time and want to go in deeper with more information. The thing with West is they'll never have enough information. You'll never be able to give them enough time. So let's think about how we can turn this around. What is our positive solution on working with that opposite direction then? So I'm going to open it up to you again. If you can think of at least 3 things that, or 1 or 2 things, whatever you want to concentrate on right now, think about your opposite direction. What would make it better? How would you like them to communicate with you so that you can work together more effectively? And again, I'm looking at things like, so the North possibly might say, stop asking so many questions, or potentially they may say, don't mother us quite so much, don't be so touchy-feely, make decisions quicker. So I'm looking for you now to give me some positive input on what that north, south, east, west directions could do differently to work with you as your direction.
Awesome. So let me just paraphrase that. Knowing your direction and knowing what you don't like about the opposite leadership style, what if you could ask them anything to do differently in order for you all to blend and have more harmony and synergy? What would you ask the opposite style to do? If you could type that into the question, what your direction is and what you would like the opposite direction to do to work with you better. So DTM South said that he's North, and for the South, he said, let's agree on how to move forward. Take decisions, stick to plan, and have an agenda.
Okay.
Anyone else? What would you like your opposite leadership style to do? We're looking at how to resolve how to have more harmony, and that means we have to think of solutions rather than looking at the issue. So knowing your leadership style and some things you don't like about the opposite, what would you prefer the opposite do? So Toastmaster Amal is saying, I like from the West to be more realistic, provide doable actions, and be more cautious. I think that's what she's saying. So she's an East, and she wants the West to just be more realistic, and provide some doable actions.
And I'm gonna push this a little bit harder. So if you are that East and you want the West to work this way, how could you word that to them without them feeling offended? Yeah.
Okay.
So be more, by saying just be more realistic or be more cautious, they might be saying, well, I am being realistic. I need more information. So what could you specifically say to them that potentially would be positive and actually get them to come onto your side? Just dig deeper.
And we have some other comments too about what members would like. Okay, Toastmaster Abdallah is saying the North needs to listen more and slow down a bit. He's a Southerner. And Toastmaster Ayman is saying, in response to solutions, have all the other positions to fully understand the future vision and engage around that vision. I may need to open your mic, Toastmaster Diamond, to clarify that. That's a broad statement. Toastmaster Jane Cameron is saying, I'd ask the North to keep an open mind, to allow time for discussions of alternatives, and to accept that other views are valid also. Thank you, Toastmaster Jane.
Fabulous. Do you want to open the mic to the one with the over?
Only if he raises his hand. Sometimes people don't have a mic or they're not ready to speak. So I just made that request. And if it can be clarified, then I'll let him take the lead on that. But you can go ahead, DTM Teresa, with those comments that we have. Let me see if we got any others. No, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
So that's really good. I do like that, you know, we agree on how we're going to go forward. So that north to the south, and I think, you know, what Jane said is really quite applicable to everybody. You know, knowing. Can you read her comments for me one more time?
Sure. She said she's a Southerner, and she'd ask the North to just keep an open mind, to allow time for discussion of alternatives, and to accept that other views are also valid. And so, how would you ask that in a way that they don't take offense to being a Northerner?
And do you know, the Norse don't normally take offense. They just what the Norse tend to do is disregard.
So forget taking offense. They just don't listen to you, huh? Disregard?
Yeah,
Is that what you said?
yeah. And that's why I put up at the very beginning here those four the acronym that says LEAD. L, you absolutely North need to be a much better listener and take on board those suggestions from your south, east, and wests. The enthusiasm of that North becomes overwhelming at times, and the enthusiasm can be seen as dictatorial. And I'm speaking as a North, all right, and I know exactly what I used to do, and until I learned from it, I think I would have been carrying on down that very harsh. I'm a North, do what I say. Come on, we have this time limit. Get on with it. But by being able to step back and go, hey, that South has some really key skills here, because they understand that people need to feel wanted. They need to feel that they're being respected and that their feelings are being noticed. Our East absolutely love the ideas, and I think as a North, I used to think, oh great, another idea. That means, you know, something else that we've got to think about. But will we ever get there? And my club growth director, Freddie, is an East, and I used to pick on him all the time because I'm going, Freddie, another great idea, but when are you going to make it happen? and and it's realizing that, hey, the East don't always implement those ideas, but if you make sure they have a team around them, then they can actually make these things come to fruition.
Beautiful.
So it's understanding what else they need. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
we have some comments in the box.
Go ahead.
One from Annie Smith. She's saying, and I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, and I hope I'm referring to the gender properly. I'm North. Will be asking more open-ended questions to the South in order to avoid them from just saying yes, but actually not agreeing. So she's saying, as a North, how she would adapt her style would be to open the floor for open-ended questions so that the Southerners can have some input. And instead of sometimes, I think they're saying that Southerners sometimes just say yes just to be agreeable. But instead of doing that, to ask them open-ended questions so they can actually say more than yes, they can actually voice their opinion. And DTM South is saying, unfortunately, what you said about the Northerners is true. Sometimes they not only do they they don't listen, but they just completely disregard or something like that. So he's saying, unfortunately, is true. And so what you're saying, DTM Teresa, is that you had to learn as a Northerner how to adjust your style so that you could be more effective without completely sacrificing who you are. You're still a go-getter, but you've learned to balance that uh, in order to have more harmony with the other styles in your on your team.
Yes, yes. And until you actually realize and go through the literature that I've given you, looking at best ways to work with each individual direction and take action on it, you won't change. You'll continue along the same route that you are because all you know is the direction that you are. All you know is what you've been doing. And sometimes without change, there is no future because you just keep doing the same things over and over again. And we want to evolve. We want our leaders to follow, we want our leaders to lead and not be ostracized, I guess you could say, not be pushed to the side because they're being too dictatorial or they're being too much a yes person or they're saying, no, we can't do anything because we don't have enough information or have way too many ideas. So each direction absolutely has to take into consideration what the other directions require. And
Yeah,
if
DTM Teresa, I'm looking at your great handout, and I think it would be wonderful since they haven't had time to really absorb it. If we could just use the handout and go through it, if you could just take us through it, so that because you give the characteristics of each style, and then you say the best way to work with the North. So, for example, every style will understand the other style better and how to work with the other style. And if we could do that, I think that would be great because that will help us to really dive into the core of what this is all about.
Okay, so I'll start with the North, the go-getter, because we all know the North want to go first anyway. So we'll start with them. Their approach to communication and it's an interesting list. I absolutely believe every single thing on this list is true. They're assertive, they're active, decisive, courageous, ambitious, confident, tenacious, goal-centered. Totally what I was and still am to a certain extent. They like to be in control and determine the course of events. They're quick to speak. They express urgency for others to act quickly. What we need to do, they literally, I can remember saying, what we need to do is this, and we need to have this completed by this date. Absolutely how I would come across. They enjoy challenging people and situations. So let's make something new happen. I push to you that this is what I want to happen. So let's make it happen. They think in the terms of bottom line. They like a quick pace and a fast track. Absolutely. They're a hardworking leader who is comfortable being out there in front. I absolutely loved having my voice heard. So yeah, put me in front of everybody. And their value phrases, and you'll know if they're a North because you'll hear these phrases almost all the time. Do it now, or I'll do it myself.
Mm.
And Jane can confirm absolutely. Jane is from my district, and she was on my team as well. And it was very much. And those were some of the phrases that I absolutely heard.
And while you're going through this, Tim Teresa, I switched to my screen so that we can show your handout, or you can pull your handout up and go through it that way, so that as you're saying it, we can have it on the screen to show them. Do you want to open it on your side?
Yeah, that's fine. You go.
Okay.
That's fine. Do it. You follow me along as we're going. That's great.
Okay.
So carrying on with the best ways to work with the North. And these were some of the things that were coming out from the comments as well. Assign tasks that require motivation, persuasion, and initiative. Present your case to them quickly, clearly, and with enthusiasm and confidence. Let the Norse know how he are involved and what the incentive is. Focus on the challenge of the task. Allow plenty of autonomy. Establish timelines and stick to them. and give positive public recognition. And being a North, absolutely, I really like knowing that I have a timeline that I'm going to work to, and I expect everybody else that's in my team to follow those timelines too. And I guess Toastmaster Saud, you're probably very similar to that as well. You know, because that was one of the things that he said. It was very much agree on how we're going to go forward. And the way that you agree is by listening to everybody. So let's look at the South next.
Okay.
And our South, they are our friendly, likable, supportive, nurturing, caring, peace-loving, sympathetic, helpful, process-centered, generous, and non-competitive. And they always want others to feel important, so they're always patting somebody on the back or recognizing their input. They're willing to trust others' statements at face value. They are a team player. They're feelings-based, so a lot of emotional intelligence going on there as well. They trust our emotions and intuition as truth. So if you say it and you feel it, then they're seeing that as real. They focus on the present moment. They like to build on the ideas of others. And their value words, which I think are absolutely spot on, is this right and is this fair? They're very, very focused on things being right and fair.
Mm-hmm.
The best way that we can work with the South is obviously keep that process in mind, keep the process that we've put in place. So North, if you have a process, keep that in mind with our South. Pay attention to the relationship that you have with a South. Justify your decisions with values and ethics. So sometimes the North don't always justify their decisions. They just say, this is what we're going to do. This is it. But the South need to understand, is it based on the values and the ethics that we're working to? Absolutely, absolutely crucial there. Appeal to your relationship with the South and their relationships with others. Listen closely. Allow the expression of feelings and intuition in logical arguments to happen. Be aware that a South may have a hard time saying no. And that was what I was going to come back to. The one word that most Souths don't have in their vocabulary is no. And they are very, very easily taken advantage of, as you mentioned as well, Toastmaster Akanke.
Mm-hmm.
Provide them with plenty of positive reassurance and likability. They want to know that what they're doing is good and it's being respected. And let them know that you appreciate them. Spot on. And we were hearing some of that in some of the replies that our attendees were giving us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at our Easts next. So our East, that's our visionary. They're innovative, creative, idea-oriented, big idea-oriented, adventurous, spontaneous, free-spirited, unconventional. They are very annoying to a North. They see the big picture, and they really do. They have this idea that if we can have this idea, it will filter in through the big strategy that we're putting in place. They like to take risks. They have insight into the mission and the purpose of the task that they're involved with. They look for overarching themes and ideas, appreciate an abundance of information. They do like to have as much as possible. They have strong spiritual awareness, so they can relate to things that are going on outside of the physical world, but dealing with spiritual awareness. They like to experiment and explore, and their words are option and possibilities. We always have loads and loads of options and lots of possibilities.
We have one comment in the we have one comment that says they're daydreamers.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And they would disagree. I think Anise would say, I'm not a daydreamer, I'm a future dreamer. Okay? I'm dreaming for the future.
And DTM, sorry, Toastmaster Abdel Al-Sharmani said, Southerners are so lovely.
They are. They're the sweetest people. They really are. You don't want to make them feel bad. So
And thank you, DTM Toastmaster Jane, for being with us. She said she has to leave. Thank you for being here. And okay, go ahead, DTM Teresa.
And how can we work best with an East? So we want to make sure that we show them appreciation and enthusiasm for their ideas, not just dismiss them. Show that we appreciate that they've come up with these ideas. Listen, again, that word listen, and be patient during this idea generation. Avoid criticizing and judging ideas, because even though they've come up with this fabulous idea, you as an individual, a north, an east, a south, or a west, may think it's a ridiculous idea. But don't criticize and judge until you've heard everything that they have to say. Allow and support divergent thinking. So it's nice to allow something different to happen. Make sure you provide them with a variety of tasks, and make sure that you provide help and supervision to support the detail and project follow through. And I think that comes along with ensuring that they have resources to make sure their ideas come to fruition. Yes? Okay. And now let's look at our West, the analyst.
I'm sorry, I'm just laughing at some of these comments.
Interrupt me. Read them.
Toastmaster Ayman said that East are day and night dreamers, not just daydreamers, but day and night dreamers.
Yes.
And DTM Sode said that we want to listen to them, but they talk too much.
Yes.
He's a northerner.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving the Northerners. I'm loving the West and the East, and all of them sitting there having their say. This is fabulous. It's really good. So let's look at our West now, our analysts. They are the practical ones. They're dependable, they're thorough, they're careful, deliberate, logical, balanced, introspective, focused, and reserved. I don't know how much more you could put into the description of an analyst. I think they could add a few more words, but it really is spot on with how they operate. They love plans, and they provide resources to others. So these are the guys you want to make sure the Easts have access to. They follow procedures and guidelines, so they'll be happy to work with a North and a South. They use data to make analytical decisions. More data, the better. They weigh all sides of an issue. Even if they can find more sides, they'll add more to it. They thoroughly examine people's needs in situations. So it's not only looking at the information that they've gathered, but it's bringing in the people side of it as well. They work well with existing resources, so whatever they have available to them and or the people that they're happy working with or used to working with, that's how they love to work. They get the most out of what has been done in the past. So, we don't know where we're going to go unless we know where we've come from in the past, and that's what the West love to go back to. Well, we did it like this before, so why do we want to change anything? Yeah. They find the fatal flaw in any idea or project, and their words are objective and organized. Yes, every West I've ever come across needs to have as much information as possible, and they do like to be objective. They want to listen to all sides of the argument or the idea. So how can we best work with the West? We want to allow them plenty of time for decision making, but when we are at a deadline, what would be really advantageous, especially for North, is to provide that West with a preliminary deadline that will still allow you to focus on your ability to make your decision based on your final deadline. So, for example, if you need the information to make your decision by Friday, give the Wests a Wednesday deadline. Then you'll have enough time to analyze their work and make your own decisions, yeah? Or make a group combined decision. provide them with as much data as possible, objective facts and figures that they can trust. Don't put off by critical no statements. Minimize the expression of emotion because they don't deal with emotion. They're only going to use logic when possible. Appeal to tradition, a sense of history, and correct procedures.
I have a question
So,
for you. For
yeah,
clarification, what does it mean, don't be put off by critical no statements? Can you explain that?
right. A West will literally come back and find that fatal flaw and say, you can't go forward with this idea because this is going to cause it to fail. So when you work with the West, allow them to say that no, or we can't go forward with this. Don't be put off by it,
Okay.
but just help them understand that, hey, maybe we can deal with this in a different way. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes sense? Did I
Yes.
explain that clearly?
Yeah, I understand it
Okay.
better now. Let me just see what comments we have. DTM Saud is saying that I think this is about the West. Too many questions, detail oriented, but they make sure we are on track.
Yeah.
And Tasmesta Amal is saying, I feel like Southwest after the things you explained. DTM Teresa, she says she feels like a Southwesterner now.
I like it. I like it.
Okay.
And any other comments there?
No other comments. Let me see if we have any hands raised for to open the mic. Yes, I'm going to go to DTM Saud. He has his hand raised. DTM Saud, your mic is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, DTM Teresa. I think yes, we can easily relate to this one, and yeah, I think this is very similar to urban brain dominance indicator because it shows the 4 times. So I have 2 questions, if you don't mind. I mean, the first one, that is there a kind of maybe a psychometric survey or a test that where people can go through to make sure, okay, this is their personality type, like Herman Bay or the other psychometric tools?
You're breaking up a little bit,
Question,
DTM Saud. You're breaking up a little bit, just to let you know. I think your first question is there an assessment that can be done so that a person can determine what their compass direction is? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That was my first question. The
Okay.
second question, and it's a comment rather than a question. So the idea here is not, I mean, if you need to have a successful team, let's say if you need like the club XCOM, there's probably, you know, a very successful team is where you have all these 4 personality profiles, because yes, you need Northern, you need Westerners, of course, you need Southerners. You just need to make sure that you do not have like, you know, Easterns, because if you have too many Easterns in the team, I mean, like, everybody will talk and nothing will be done. So, but probably for a successful team, you need people with this 4 personality because they complement each other. I think that would be the successful factor of any team. So thank you very much. These are 2 my question and comment.
Thank you so much, DTM Saud, for your participation and your comment and questions.
So to answer the first question, there is no assessment, exact assessment for you to determine, yes, I'm definitely a north or a south or an east or west. It's all based around that gut feel. So when you read these different handouts, that's what this particular program deals with, that gut feel. Are we just a north or just a south or an east or west? No, we probably, like one of our attendees just stated, they feel more like a southwest now, and I think everybody probably has a little bit of at least 2 or 3 of the directions in them, but they will have a stronger direction that is core to their own way of working.
So everybody has a dominant style.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. So it's looking at your dominant style and then ensuring that dominant style doesn't overtake the other directions that you're definitely going to work with. I liked his comment, because you're absolutely right. The ideal perfect team would be to have one of everybody. on there.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we don't get that. We don't. We aren't. Because we don't get to pick our teams,
Mm-hmm.
and if so, the key here is because you don't get to pick your team, it's ensuring that the team that you are provided with, that you understand where they are,
Mm-hmm.
and working together, working with everybody, just like you said, uh, you will have a much more successful team by understanding where they're coming from and how they like to work,
Mm-hmm.
and ensure that you focus on that and that you accept it. You recognize that, hey, I need to change. It's not making other people change. It's actually you realizing that you need to make some changes to be more effective as that overall leader that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So a couple of things, DTM Teresa. First, I'm going to come back to your screen so that you can refer back to your presentation as needed. And then the other thing is, um, what would it be like? I think it would be entertaining to think of what it would be like if you had uh, dominance of one direction on a team. So if you had all go-getters, that doesn't seem like that would be too bad because a lot of things would get done, right?
Okay.
Would
So
they?
so I'm gonna I'm
Would
gonna
the go-getters clash with each other?
yes.
Okay.
And that's absolutely, I think that's what Toastmaster Side was saying.
Hmm.
You put all West in there and you'll never make a decision. You
Hmm.
put if you put okay, if you put all Norths in one room, and I've done this exercise where I have everybody in the room with me, and what happens is when I get all the Norths together, I had 18 Norths together on Monday, and they couldn't decide who was going to be the overall leader. They all wanted to be the leader.
Okay.
So you're absolutely fighting against each other because you all think that you are the best one and you should go with my idea, my way, my way, my way. And it took them 5 minutes to literally get into understanding what the overall exercise was because they all wanted to be the leader. Um, the Souths, they were the best. They said, well, nobody really took that overall leader position because they all wanted everybody to feel happy, and so they literally just did a round robin, which is what we wanted, so that everybody had a chance to speak, and nobody really took the overall leadership, strong, what we would call a go-getter leadership option, but they accomplished the exercise a lot faster
Hmm.
because they let everybody talk.
Hmm.
And our West, the interesting thing about the West were they were very adamant that everybody needed to give them as much time as they needed. They wanted to have more time to finish giving their feedback because they had so much more information they needed to share with us. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So having the same direction for everybody on the team will make it a very difficult team because you will never actually accomplish anything because you're not getting that outside input from the other directions.
Hmm. And so, another question that I have is, it seems like this would be very valuable for this type of session to be pushed out into a division level training or
Mm.
conferences so that this can actually be a tool that is used in to create more harmony at the club level so that club officers can understand these dynamics because sometimes it becomes personal when it's not personal at all. It's just a style. And if there is not an awareness of these different styles, then it boils down to things that can become personal. So I think this would be a great tool to push out to division and trickle it down all the way down to the club officers so that they can consider this and create more harmony at the club level.
Yes, absolutely. And I have done this on I think, like I was saying earlier, to a smaller group as 2 to 3 people, and they were on the same team. So it was helping that team understand where they were with each other. So yeah, I've delivered it at division levels, at area levels, and at club levels, and everybody always comes back saying we are so much more in tune with each other now because we understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the key learning point for today.
Absolutely.
So, what do you guys think? What do you think that you've possibly taken away from what we've gone through in a very short amount of time? This is usually the part where if we were face to face, we would be saying, do you agree with what the North said about you, South? And West, do you agree with what everybody else has been saying about you? What do you guys think? Are you in agreement with everything that's been said?
Mm. Okay, so that's a question to attendees.
And if you don't agree, then tell me why.
So you want us to think of what we are and if what others are saying about us is true. Okay. Well, first of all, I think, like me, I don't really know what I am. I'm a go-getter, but I'm also a nurturer. I know I'm definitely not analytical. I appreciate analytics, but I'm not that. I'm also partly a visionary. So I think for everyone, if you're clear about what you are, that's great. Then what do you think about what others think you are? If you could post a comment in the question box about, do you pretty much agree that you are what others say about you? Anyone wants to comment on that? Or if you want me to open your mic, I can open your mic. And if anyone has worked with me, DTM Saud, anyone else out there who's worked with me, and this is definitely not about DTM Akanke, but I'm just using myself as an example. What do you think I am? I've been told by some people that I'm dominant, so I guess that would make me a northerner. But I see myself also as a nurturer. So if any of you out there have worked with me, what do you think I am? Toastmaster Kalfan, who just joined us, said he's turbulent. He's not north, south, east, or west. He's turbulent. That's a new direction. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Kalfan.
I like it. I like it.
I think turbulent is that like troublemaker, rabble rouser, or what exactly is turbulent? That's funny.
I think of turbulence and I think of an airplane journey, and you get scared and you're frightened, and it's like, oh my God, oh, what's going to happen next? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the comments here. Toastmaster Ayman is saying that he agrees that DTM Sode is right about himself. What did he? Oh, about being a northerner. Okay, go getter. Yeah, okay. He's worked with him, so he knows him. Okay. Toastmaster Kalfan said that you know him, DTM Teresa, Toastmaster Muhammad Kalfan. Toastmaster Amal said, it is good to see yourself with another set of eyes. It helps you improve. Absolutely. I love that comment, Toastmaster Amal. And that's what we are all, as a good leader, always appreciates the 360 compass in terms of other people giving them feedback. And that's part of the value of being a Toastmaster as well, is we value feedback. And sometimes we know how to give feedback, for example, on a speech, for example, but how can we learn to give better feedback on to other leaders or club members about their style? And I think hopefully something we can come away from this with is beyond giving feedback about speeches, how can we give feedback to each other? That'd be very valuable. Toastmaster Abdullah Al-Sarani is saying, almost yes. However, it depends on how the person improves his or her other communication skills, which comes under the other directions. Not sure. You started that comment in the middle. What is almost yes? If you could clarify that, Toastmaster Abdullah. But thank you for your comment. And Toastmaster So says he agrees with what has been said. Thank you all so much. Okay, DTM Teresa, you can go ahead.
Okay.
I just want to remind the attendees also to feel free to to raise your hand. We do have DTM Sal, your mic is open. If you want to make another comment, please, you're most welcome to do so.
Thank you very much, DTM. Thank you, DTM Teresa. And I totally agree with this one. Actually, just yesterday at work, I mean, we had a session talking about, this for personality type and this one. And I just wish we have this maybe, and I'm waiting if you can share any link or how we can find this assessment tool, how we can just make sure that, for me, I'm pretty sure that I'm not, but it's good. I mean, that at least some have some kind of evidence, and normally this kind of assessment will also give some details about how to deal with others and how to work in this one. And I totally agree, this is like a dominance, but we all have maybe, depending on the situation, certain types of other personality, but definitely there should be one dominance. And I know, Dita Makanki, yes, I would agree that you are somewhere in between North and South.
Okay.
Because I see you achieve a lot, you're very practical, you're hard work, and I see a lot. At the same time, I see you care so much about the people and how to make sure that even the word that you use, and you're very selective, very polite, very tactful in the way you communicate with people. So definitely, you are somewhere in between this one.
Thank
might
you.
be dominant,
Thanks for the feedback, DTM.
I agree with this one.
Thank you so much.
The last comment I said, thank you. The last comment I say, and I wish we can use this part of the leadership compass as part of the conflict resolution, because we have one of the of the models of about conflict resolution, and definitely one of the major reasons why adult people, I mean, have conflicts very often is because that we are not aware of the other personality style. So I think that would be good if we can use this with them. Thank you very much. That was my last comment.
Thank you so much, DTM Sod. That's a good point.
What I will do, Akanke, is I will send you the overall how to run this workshop, so that if anybody wants to do this in their clubs or their areas, then they can feel free to use it and take it to the next level. Okay. And I'll make sure that there's a link on there that shows you where it came from. Okay. So if they need any more information, they can go into a further assessment of their personalities. Yeah.
Okay. And let me just ask you a question, DTM Teresa. This, when it's done in person, takes on a whole nother dynamic in terms of breakout sessions where people come back and they have more of an opportunity to reflect and to share with the bigger group after they've gone into the smaller groups. So it would be great if we could have. I think you're going to be visiting us soon, aren't you? I think
I am. I'm coming to the April conference, 21st, 22nd, somewhere around in there. Yeah.
So maybe we could talk offline about this, but maybe there's a possibility that we could do this in person. And I like the fact that you said this is something that Toastmasters International supports in terms of this particular model. So that's something we can talk about and possibly do in April, but we'll have to talk to the SAPAC organizers about that as well. So that would be great, because we could take it to another level by doing it live and in person. And I think that would be great.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to do that, because you do have a totally different dynamic when you have people face to face. It is amazing what they're willing to say, and how honest they will be, even though they're in this face-to-face. Sometimes you think, oh, they're going to hold back, but this gives them permission to say, hey, what you're doing makes me feel like. And it's not confrontational then, it's letting the other direction understand that it makes me as an individual feel horrible because I don't think that you're respecting me. And that way, when you do it that way, it's not a conflict then. It opens up their eyes and the light bulb comes on. Yeah?
Great. And we have one comment from Toastmaster Rami. He says, what if I have some traits of each of the four, and sometimes I am more of one style? And by training and comments, the compass is directed towards different directions, sometimes depending on the situation. And I think that's something similar to what has already been said by you, and DTM Saud mentioned it as well. In different situations, are on a normal level, consistently, we'll probably have a dominant style, but under different situations, we change depending on the dynamics.
Yes, Absolutely. And you know, it's like I said at the beginning, you will have a dominant style, but you will possibly have a little bit of the others in there as well. And as long as you recognize when you're in these different or challenging circumstances that there are the other individuals that have a dominant style as well, if you can pinpoint what they're doing, then you'll understand how to deal with them. But it's not, we're not sitting here saying that you are all of one and you don't have anything of the others in there, because that's not possible. And the other thing I wanted to say really quickly was we don't stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
As we grow and we move on, we evolve. And, you know, even though I started out as a district director as a North, I still have North in me, but I probably am closer to an East now than I was when I was a district director.
Okay.
I'm probably an East, and then the North comes in to support that visionary.
Oh, very interesting. That's beautiful. I just want to let you know that DTM Saud has offered, with your permission, to run this session in Arabic for those who missed it. So he's willing to with your support and permission, to do this same session for our Arabic attendees who were not able to continue with us.
That would be lovely. I would have no problems with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I know we're getting really close to our cutoff time, so I just want to do, if there are any questions that anybody has that they want to ask, that's what you can do right now before we wrap it all up and allow you to have your lunch or snack or prayers even.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And for me, I'm actually in the U.S. right now. It's 7:44 a.m. for me, so I may get some more rest after this. I've been up since 5. But we have, let's see, we have some thank yous. Toastmaster Ayman said, "Thank you both for the time and energy that you and DTM Tess have spent explaining the model. It's been a pleasure to to do this session with you, DTM Teresa. We're not ending now. We have 15 more minutes if we have questions and comments from our attendees, or if anyone wants to ask a question. You're more than welcome to. Perhaps you have experiences that you'd like to share. I'm going to go ahead and open the mic for Toastmaster Abdullah Al-Shirani. Thank you so much for your participation, for being here, Toastmaster Abdullah. Your mic is open, but I'm waiting for it to turn green so that I can know that you're actually we can actually hear you. I've opened your mic, but I don't see it turning green yet. There you go. Okay, go ahead and ask your question or make your comment. And thanks again for being here.
Hello, hi. Thank you for having me, and thanks, DTM Teresa, for the information given today. My question is, in the leadership campus that we learned today, should the direction towards the goal always the direction should be towards the goal of that specific team that's been gathered for a specific goal. So is it right? The art in here is in how or in seeing what the team needs, and then play that role, that missing direction role within the team. For example, if I'm a Southern, and most of the team are Southrons, and we have North and we have West, but we need to make the canvas complete, is to play the East role for me, for example, to make the team performs effectively. Is that right? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, and it's a very interesting one. I don't think I've had this one before. I think, you know, what we're trying to understand here is what direction we have as our dominance, and if we have a goal that is more East focused or more West focused, it's literally understanding that the members on your team still have this overall objective that they have to get to, and the different directions that are on your team will help you get there. But as a Southerner, should you change your direction to an East in order to have that more visionary outlook? I don't think you have to. I think as long as you're aware that there is this visionary objective that you have to get to, it's understanding that you can draw on those characteristics or those criteria, but your overall dominant style will probably not change. It would be very difficult for you to change your dominant style.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Do I explain that clearly?
I think it was clear in what you've said. Toastmaster Abdullah, if you want to come back and clarify that or say if it was clear. I also want to say that as leaders, once we understand all the directions, if we know that we need some analysis on something in order to achieve a goal, and there is no Westerner on the team, for example, then we can certainly seek out someone and bring them on the team, or we can, I mean, just because we might be a Northerner or a Southerner and we're not a primary analyst, it doesn't mean that we don't know how to get data. I mean, to be leaders, we have to have, there's some of all directions within us. So to the extent that we are able to either bring someone else onto the team or awaken that part of us that's less dominant in order to facilitate whatever the other needs are, I think we can be smart and intuitive enough to know what's the best thing to do. So we don't leave our dominant style, but we awaken things that might be latent or pull someone else into the team that can help us reach our goal faster.
Yes.
Okay, let's see what we have here in terms of questions or comments. I love your comment. Toastmaster Ayman said it was great to see DTM Saud using his northernness to put the session into Arabic. A go-getter. Toastmaster Amal is saying thank you, DTM Teresa and DTM Akanke. Toastmaster Amal says how to deal with the North member who causes issues to a Southern lead. Oh, thank you, Toastmaster Amal, for that. Now, Northerners can be difficult sometimes.
Yes, yes, and you know, and the Southerners will absolutely feel like they're being walked on by a Northerner. But I say that from experience because I walked on my Southern colleague for the longest time because I didn't realize that I was doing it. And you don't. When you're North, sometimes you know you have this task that you have to get accomplished, and the Southerner is slowing you down, so you either ignore them or step around them or you insult them. So it's really, as a Northerner, the Southerner has to let them know that what they're doing is affecting their productivity. It's like I think Toastmaster Saud was saying, or even you, Akake. Once we understand the best ways to work with that opposite direction, then it helps us bring to the forefront how to deal with that conflict, because that will outline where the problem lies, because that Southerner wants to be heard and wants everybody to feel good, but that Northerner is stepping on everybody's toes and not giving anybody time to have their voice heard. So it's helping both directions understand where they're coming from and how to proceed together and not separate.
Yes. And DTM Teresa, several of our attendees are leaving the session now because it's prayer time, and they've thanked us for this session. And so I think we don't have any other questions or hands raised. So if you want to conclude now, we can, because a lot of them are leaving to make prayer at the mosque.
That's fine. So I'll give them this challenge as if they want to listen back to this. If you want to avoid looking like this, as we did at the beginning, because you don't understand how everybody else is working, take into consideration what we're doing on this leadership compass, and you'll be smiling like your district trio are here in this picture.
Awesome.
What I want and what I would love everybody to do, the challenge I'm going to give them, is to think about one thing Now that you've understood the different directions, what one thing will you do differently that will help you work more effectively with those other directions? And I don't want you to just to think about it. I want you to literally write it down on a piece of paper and put it in front of you, and potentially write one thing for each of the other directions that you are not, and put it in front of you so you can see it. And then you know that if I'm in north, with the South, I'm going to be more patient. With the West, I'm going to give them earlier deadlines. With the East, I'm going to make sure they have a team. So one thing for each direction that you would do differently after having been involved in this workshop. And then you will be the happiest team going, and your entire district, your area, your club, your division will have smiles on their faces, just like everybody in this picture.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. We do have a comment from Toastmaster Kalfan. I'm going to open your mic, Toastmaster Kalfan. I'm going to come to you now. Just a moment, please. Toastmaster Kalfan,
good morning.
Salam alaikum, and thank you for being with us.
Wa alaikum salam, DTM Akanki Toastmaster Teresa. Good morning, my time. I'm calling from Indiana here. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Toastmaster Teresa, I just want to DTM Teresa, I just want to remind you of something which you have really practiced during your campaign and election time. And I want the audience to know something about you when you have lost the election against Khalid. And I remember that night you just, as if nothing happened. You have even, I remember, danced with me and with Khalid and with the rest. And the year after, you have won and succeeded to become the director of the Region 11. And I really admire your way of taking things even when it hits individuals or when it doesn't come in the direction you are. As you know, me and Nadir, if you remember, we have been supporting you. First, I personally empower women, even though Khalid was a Saudi, but I was carrying, you remember, your logo, and I was supporting you, and we were advising you. And really, I miss a lot of portion from your presentation, but I'm happy that you are going to send it. I want to send my greetings to all the attendees and to you. And I want to just mention something that you have really practiced, that you, when you fail or when you topple, there is always, as our great friend Abdallah Sayyala, there is always next time. So congratulations to District 79 to have such a true leader who is a guest in our webinar.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Kalfan.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. And thank you for the memory. I do remember the dancing.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, DTM Teresa, for being with us today to give this valuable presentation on the Leadership Compass and giving us tips and ideas on how to, first of all, assess and understand our own leadership style or styles, and to be more mindful and have greater awareness about the leadership style and working in teams with other people who are different from us, and helping us to look at solutions, ways to work differently with the opposites, for example. This has been very, very valuable, and we could have gone into more detail, but I think what we've gotten today has made a difference. I feel it's made a difference already for me, and I'm sure for the attendees based on interaction. And we look forward to learning more about it, and hopefully, as I said, when you come to District 79, if there is time and room in our agenda for SATAC. It would be great for us to do this live and in person. And also we're going to follow up this as a webinar for our Arabic attendees as suggested by DTM Saud. We appreciate your time and thank you so much. And I think we're concluding here with that. So if you have any other concluding thoughts, we can have them now. Otherwise, we'll say thank you, and we'll have the recording available, and I'll clean some of the technical things up before I post it as well.
That's fine. Absolutely. I would just end with make sure that you keep the documentation close by,
Yes.
Read it on occasion, and just remind yourself that there are positive ways that you can work with every direction that you come in contact with. So keep the positivity going.
Awesome. Thank you so much, DTM Teresa. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and we look forward to having you visit us and look forward to staying connected. Your leadership, your style, your spirit, your vibrancy is something that I really admire, and we're glad to have you as our Region 11 International Director and wish you the best success as you move forward as a leader within Toastmasters International, and we'll see you soon. Thank you to all the attendees for being here.